All right, so I think we're connected. Connected there. Let's connect here. That took a bit. All right. Dismiss. Oh, we got sound. We have sound. Perfect. I think we have too much sound. Let's turn this down a little bit. That should go there. Maybe right there. Cool. All right, dope. Let's take a look at some footy. So we're going to review footage from things that we shot over the last few weeks. Dual purpose here is we're just recording it in terms of review, and we're just post it live. Makes it super easy on cut up and edit, and just kind of two birds with one stone. So this first piece here is a Fedex Foresight piece. At least that was what the folder name was. I think we inserted another piece of content as we were shooting something. This fell along the lines of that one social platform that got banned and then unbanned. But we also wanted to create a parallel where we kind of poked fun at the golf ball rollback. Like, wouldn't it be funny if the person approving the golf ball rollback went through with it and then reneged on it and said there's no more golf ball restriction, no golf ball ban. So this is kind of a funny conversation skit along those lines. It was shot on sticks, a 16 to 35 mil equivalent. It was about 20 feet away. So this first shot is just on sticks walking into frame. The second shot here is basically just punched in, I think ×2. So just a lot closer, and then just continuing conversation to just add build up. Then zoom back out, just kind of creating that different conversation, because I wasn't actually speaking to anyone on the phone, but it was a good way just to show different parts of it. Zoomed in just a little bit more here, again just isolating on the conversation, and then just back and forth through this little skit. It was 40 seconds-ish all the way through, and yeah, that was the skit. In terms of grading it, so we do all the color grading through here. So these are the nodes. Used to edit through Premiere, have made the switch into DaVinci. It was a good switch. I'm happy with it. Couldn't imagine not using this now. I think using Premiere was just a good learning experience. There are some things that we ran into which we didn't quite like, but I think the node experience through DaVinci is one that has a little bit of a learning curve. But I'm glad that we've invested time into getting it. DaVinci itself is free. Like, they have the free version, and I remember when I first got it, like, I just used the free version for the longest time. And then as you use more features, then it gives you the message that says, essentially, you can't use this feature because you didn't pay for it. And then the more that message kept popping up, the more it kind of example. So if we take everything out, that's what it looks like. And then if we activate everything, this is what it looks like. So we change something that's from a flat color profile into a graded color profile, and there's steps in between. So let's kind of take it one by one. And so we'll take all of them out. Let's see. Let me adjust this. I don't want to see this here. Oh. Let's move these up. Okay. So we'll take, so we don't use all of these all the time. Some of these are film emulations. But this is the main. So let's denoise. The first one is this one. This is a color space transform. So we'll take Sony log footage, so S-log3, and we'll transform it into DaVinci wide gamut, which gives us the largest color space to grade. And then in the end node, so basically if you just live here on these two nodes, there's plenty of like tutorials and such that are online that you can kind of siphon through. Like I'm not the dude for that, but I do know how to use certain parts of the tools to get the image that I want. So if we just take a look at just a basic correction from the footage, this is what we get. So we go from this to that. Now in terms of exposure, it's still a bit overexposed or just bright. Like this would be, I guess, okay as is. Maybe a couple other adjustments. So we adjust the balance. So here it takes it from a brighter image down into more of this graded image. So let's do this. So we'll just add the node here, and we'll sample if we just took it down from, just brought the exposure down. You see here it kind of brings it into something that's not as flat, right? So let's go ahead and delete that for now. And we'll input the balance footage here. It leans a little bit into that orange-ish. And then we'll apply white balance. So here's the white balance. We'll change the temperature. So again, this is where we're at. Leans a little bit to green, so we'll add some magenta. This is the printer node. This adds just red, green, and blue using kind of the plus and minus short keys that are in DaVinci. Don't really use it a lot, especially just something for like a quick turnaround. We shot this one essentially between like breakfast and lunch-ish. There was just kind of an idea that popped up and I figured just knock it out and get it out there just because it was just good timing. Contrast node. So the contrast is located here. You can push and pull it just to make it a little bit crunchy. Curves node. So basic curves, similar that we'd see in like photos. So without it, what we're doing here is we're lifting a bit of the shadows, so it's more of a, I guess, softer, flatter type of image. It's not as contrasty. And then in the midtones, kind of the same thing. I just want to lift them a bit. And then in terms of like highlights, you want to bring them down just because this area here it's bright. So it's during the day, didn't have a reflector or a bounce or anything. It's literally just walked outside, tried to find good placement of the light and just shoot it. So just a bit of adjustment there, bring it down. You can also bring it down more, just make it more flat, but this is kind of where we're keeping it. Saturation, didn't really want to add any more saturation to this. So it just looked okay from a vantage point. Like you can see if you add more or less, depending on how much, but I think I was okay with this image here. Color correction node, it's the compound node, but here it has basically this is the warper, and then you go in here and something that I found online is just kind of these minimal adjustments kind of mess with the skin tones a little bit, but also give a nice look to other parts of the image. Similar to like what happens with contrast, but it doesn't affect the whole image. This is more selective with color. So we'll get out of there. Masking. We didn't use any masking on this, but essentially how this works is that you'll go to the mask, you'll select a color through the color picker, and then based on what it's selecting, you just change those individual colors. So nothing applying from here on this. How I would use it on other videos is if I wanted to change like the sky, or if there's other color that was spilling into the image that I wanted to either increase or decrease. So you can be like really selective on that and just mask out those certain pieces and kind of shape the light in certain ways, but this one, no requirement. What is the shoot of? It was just a riff on what was happening kind of in golf and in just like culture-wise, specifically the one social media platform that got banned. So I wanted to be able to juxtapose the two different worlds of like, these are the things that are happening in golf and these are the things that are happening in just overall culture, and how can we poke fun at both of them in like a serious and non-serious way. So that's what this shoot was particularly. So again, no like exact brief or anything. It was just more of a reaction to like what was happening in like the real world and how could we relate it to the golf space, because things were happening in a very similar way, but obviously there's different varying seriousness factors of both. Effects tab here. So this is again is a compound node, so it'll show compound. Glow. This brings out the kind of light, I think they call it, so between this one and halation, it just gives a really pleasing kind of vintage kind of vibe. That's to the look. It really plays well when it comes to like the softness of light and being able to shape the subject within that light and having them kind of just appear a little bit more, I don't know, nostalgic for the lack of a better word, but it just has a good like color temperature and look in the end product. Let's see, let's get out of here. And then there's the correction node. So I think for this image here, this is kind of where we lived at. This is what we were happy with. There are other kind of, this printout node's also actually really interesting. This is gives a really good film emulation look. So it does use this film LUT that's here. So if we go to LUT and then film looks, this Rec 709 Kodak 2383, this is like a good film kind of emulation as it lives within this kind of node structure. Gives it like a really good graininess, good contrast between colors, looks great like in the outdoors. Yeah, so not needed for this one, but this is kind of a favorite part of this that I'll add to other videos. So see here, it's just dependent on like, what's your pleasure? Dork, bro, content. And Troy, aren't you still on the East Coast? Isn't it like 3? You go to bed. You go to bed, Troy. Yeah, so this was this video. We'll go through one more. Let's see. Let's take a look at... actually, no. Is there another? I think there's one in here. Is there the timeline with the other Foresight video? Let's see. How did I set this up? I think I did. Oh, I did. Yeah, here it is. So this was the actual original video that was shot the day before. And this was this is why it's labeled Fedex Foresight. So Foresight is a kind of launch monitor in golf. And I'm lucky enough that they kind of sent me one to like use and test. But it was like, how do we make a video where it's just like you're not doing a regular unboxing, because I, as much as like I can do it in terms of like capacity, like that's just not a great story of like, here's how the item gets unboxed and let me just show it to you. Like there are other creators and people that do that. Like that's just not me. So how can we make a video that's a little bit more like, I don't know, impactful, but like makes a little more sense from a storyline? So how the thought here was like, let's juxtapose Fedex because they are the sponsor of the Fedex Cup, the Tour Championship, and kind of show it like being delivered in a certain sense. So this here, this first image is, this is not a FedEx uniform. This is a quarter rain zip, and we went to FedEx and got a business card. So like, here's the business card. And we cut the business card where it's like the FedEx logo, and we put it on a black like hat. So we just like gaff taped it to the hat. So that was one. Let me see, I think I have it right here. Okay. So yeah, so we gaff taped it to the hat. So like this is, I'm not probably gonna use this anymore, but this is the hat, and we just taped the logo of the business card to the hat. And then this is the quarter zip. So the quarter zip, again, this is a cutout from the business card. We gaff taped it there. And then on the back, this is actually a mailer. So the mailer that you just put the items in, we cut out the FedEx like plastic, and then we just gaff taped it to the back of this jacket. So it's not a real uniform, but it was enough to sell this video. And then a box with obviously FedEx box that we cut, and then like the fragile logos. So we're showing it like being delivered, again, just like a skit of a conversation of a FedEx coworker calling, asking where they're at on their route, and saying that they're on their last delivery. Coworker's asking, what is it? This is a nod, well, it's probably a cup, like a hint and a nod to the FedEx Cup. If you like follow golf, like you would get it. If not, then you wouldn't kind of understand like what is the cup. So very subtle. Show it being delivered to the house, getting picked up, looking at it like, what is this box? Missed the delivery. And then the setup in the garage of the unit itself. So this is more of like the unboxing of it. Opens, you show ramped, so you kind of just see the logo, just a logo, just, you know, standard. And then just kind of a hero shot of the unit itself, but like less face on, more of like light shape to the corner. In this shot here, this isn't like a change of the light. So the light source was the exact same, but on like the front of the camera, there's like, it's a filter. So basically just think of like the sunglasses in front of the lens, and they're of varying densities. So what we did was there's a wheel on the attachment that goes to the front of the camera, and we just turned the wheel. So we turned the wheel and the light got brighter and darker. So the light just stayed the same, but we used the camera itself just to make this happen. And then that was just done in slow-mo. So that was this project. Yeah. Solid. I think that'll be, yeah, I think that'll be the ones that we go through for right now. So if anyone that was watching, thank you for kind of joining the ramble. This will be posted on YouTube, so, and we'll go through more of these if this is something that people like, but this is also a good thing for me just to kind of re-review the footage, because usually when we just shoot it, it's like, you get the concept, shoot the concept, edit the concept, done, and then you go through the revisions in your head. So it's good to see this like a week-ish later and just like, okay, well, I did like these parts, I didn't like these parts, and let's try this for next time. Peace.